Our next speaker coming up is one in which we are really lucky to have these incredible partnerships with other learning organizations. It's one thing I feel very blessed in this job that I have at Microsoft. And BBC Learning is one of those organizations. And BBC Learning has been able to bring our next speaker here to us today. She's not a teacher in the classical sense. She's actually the executive producer at Ocean X, and she has filmed and produced media in over 25 countries on all 7 continents. She has produced content for National Geographic, BBC, PBS, and more. After today, all of you sitting in the live audience, we're going to send you all the way down to the other end of the museum to check out her latest project, which is the Oceans, Our Blue Planet film. And for those of you watching online, be sure to go to the website and see where it's playing near you. It's absolutely worth it. So in her own unique way, she's bringing incredible learning experiences to us through film. Welcome, everyone, Jennifer Heil.
Great, it's so lovely to be here, and as Sonia said, I'm the executive producer of Ocean X Media, and that's part of a larger initiative called Ocean X, and our mission is to explore the ocean and bring it back to the world. As many of you probably know, the oceans cover 71% of the surface of our planet. What isn't as well known is that 95% of our oceans remain unexplored. And we know more about the surface of Mars than we do about the seafloor of this planet, which is why at Ocean X we think it's critical to put time and resources towards ocean exploration, which we believe is the next frontier. We believe that storytelling and media are the best ways to bring back what we find, to share our discoveries with the world, and to inspire greater interests in our oceans. One of the best examples of how we have tried to fulfill our mission is through a 3D film that we co-produced with BBC Earth, sponsored by Microsoft, which you'll be seeing tonight. I'm so excited, called Oceans, Our Blue Planet. It's a companion film to the landmark TV series Blue Planet 2, for those of you familiar with that show. And like the series, we wanted to take our audience on a global journey to discover the largest and least explored wilderness on our planet. With the stories we tell in this film, you'll meet a tool-using fish. You will meet an octopus that can create its own body armor out of seashells to escape a shark. We want to forge a deeper human connection to the ocean and inspire the next generation to be stewards of our blue planet. And I really do think that's where filmmakers and educators have so much in common, that desire to incite curiosity and inspire. I'm here today to talk a bit about making the film, some of the adventures and mishaps that we had along the way. The film was produced over a 3-year period in 20 different locations. I was on nearly half of the shoots. I worked from the equator, places like the Galapagos, down to the poles, including a month in Antarctica. But before I go any further, I wanted to share a trailer of the film.
It is the largest and least explored place on Earth. Home to the most extreme, most exotic animals ever discovered. A vast, uncharted world critical to sustaining life on our planet. Continuous scientific advancements allow us to go further into the ocean depths than ever believed possible. Join an oceanic adventure into the depths, on a journey through vibrant coral cities and enchanted underwater forests. Come face to face with gentle giants and the smartest fish in the sea. Experience our blue planet in a breathtaking, immersive cinema event. Experience oceans.
So I mentioned earlier I work for OceanX Media, and OceanX has an extraordinary research vessel. You would have seen it in the trailer, and there's a photo of it right here. It's called the Aleutian, and it is what made much of this film happen. The Aleutian is equipped with 2 submarines, a helicopter, a scuba unit, and a science lab. Any combination of these is pretty rare, and all of them even more so, and it really allows us to take a 360 picture of the ocean. The subs, of course, were what were critical to allow us to explore the deep. And we absolutely love those submarines, but I tell you, we are just excited about the cameras that we have fixed to those submarines. There are 2 cameras. They are cinema grade. They are rated to 3,000 feet. We believe they are unique in the world. And the reason we are so excited about them is it means that it's not just the 3 people in the submarines that are seeing the extraordinary animals that we encounter and the habitats, but that we can bring all of you and your students along with us for the journey. I'd love to share some stories from one of our shoots, the longest and arguably hardest, 1 month in Antarctica. It took 9 months of planning to take a total of 42 people and thousands of pounds of equipment and cold weather gear to one of the most isolated and formidable environments in the world. There's no popping out for spare batteries if you forget them, so we really had to be on our game in the planning phase. Keeping all of that planning in mind, I think it's important to note that we really had no idea what we would find in the deep ocean in Antarctica. We didn't know if we'd find an empty Black Sea, a thriving ecosystem, or something in between. We knew there was a chance we might find scarce life and get minimal footage, which as a filmmaker is always very nerve-wracking. But we felt it was worth taking the risk to explore this uncharted part of our oceans and reach depths no one had previously attempted. So we're trying to chip away at that 95% unexplored that I mentioned earlier. To get there, the media and science crew flew to Ushuaia, which is at the bottom tip of Argentina, with 100 Pelican cases of gear. We got on board the Aleutian, and then it was a 3-day journey across the Drake's Passage, which is some of the roughest ocean in the world, to get to the northern tip of Antarctica. On the Aleutian, as I mentioned, we had the submarine, so we had camera crews for the submarine, for the helicopter. We had scuba teams for shallower work. We had land-based teams that were taking smaller boats to go ashore. And when we were down there, we made the decision to work at night in the 24-hour sunlight of the Antarctic summer because we realized that during the day, the light was so harsh that our aerial teams and our land-based teams, it was really hard to film. So in addition to working in a pretty tricky area, we turned our body clocks upside down. My work day suddenly started at 6 p.m. and finished around 8 a.m. or 10 a.m. And then we'd all slip on eye masks and try to sleep through a really piercing, bright day. A large part of my job on the shoot was to ensure that each of those camera teams that I mentioned were able to work harmoniously in an often dangerous and very dynamic environment. I've never been anywhere where conditions change so quickly, whether currents, visibility, the weather. We had an ice pilot who was there just to help us navigate all of these moving icebergs, some of them the size of Central Park. So we were just constantly having to adjust to whatever Antarctica was throwing at us. So my job was just sort of one of continuously reacting to what was happening and trying to problem solve throughout the day. But there were lighter moments too. We were down there over Christmas, so we missed Christmas with our families. But one night, we took boats to shore to a little island covered in penguins to sing Christmas carols. We apparently weren't very good. The penguins fled us. So we were much more interested in them than they were in us, which commonly happens with wildlife. As I mentioned before, we had no idea what we would find in the deep ocean. But when we finally reached our maximum depth, which is 3,000 feet or 1,000 meters, we found an ecosystem absolutely rich with life. And what that expedition taught us, and I've seen time and again, and what we are dearly hoping to communicate with this film to you and your students, is that there's still so much in our world left to discover. For students, we hope that it's critical that they grow up knowing that they too can be explorers, and best of all, there is still so much left to explore in our oceans. Now, while movies we hope are excellent for learning, we wanted to do even more to reach students. In partnership with BBC Learning, Microsoft has a new collection of teacher-written, inquiry-based lesson plans to complement the BBC Earth and Ocean X film, Ocean's Our Blue Planet. These interdisciplinary experiences engage students in answering 4 big questions while developing future-ready skills like writing code, building sensors, analyzing data, creating with 3D, and using mixed reality.